My name is Justin.
And I'm Bree.
And this is the Better Together podcast.
I did it right this time.
Yeah, you just let me say it.
Yeah.
That makes it a whole lot easier if we do it that way than anything else. But it's been quite the week this week.
Yeah, it's been an adventure for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like we talked about last week, we were getting ready to move into our rental while our house is being worked on. And so that's where we are currently at.
Yeah.
We're actually in the perfect place to do a podcast in this house because we're right next to a sign that literally says, "Together is our favorite place to be."
It's
Could
perfect.
we have a better sign next to us for the Better Together podcast? I don't think so.
I think once we get a set going, we might have to have a sign like that
Maybe
for
not,
our Better Together.
Maybe not like that one.
Not that specific style, but the saying.
Maybe we just have one that says Better Together.
I mean, that too. Whatever.
It just seems to make more sense to me. I don't know.
But so we're staying away from our house right now, and we've learned that no matter the price people pay for stuff, you're always going to find flaws in things.
Oh, yeah. And we are quick to find flaws in things. Apparently, we're really good at finding flaws. And so that's been like our thing nonstop in this house. Is like, oh, well, that's messed up and this is messed up. And it's not like trying to be judgmental.
No.
As much as it is like, oh, this makes me feel a little bit better about my house having issues.
Yeah. It's like, oh, so even houses that are quite a bit more than ours have issues too. Like, and it's silly stuff. It's cosmetic. There's a little bit of paint on a ceiling somewhere, and the transition is messed up, like our little transition piece from one space to another. So it's just funny how no matter what the cost of a place is, there's still going to be little things that cork you.
Oh, yeah. There's always going to be things that you notice in a house because it's just that's how houses are. We expect houses to be better or like perfect.
Yes.
The more money that a house is worth, the more perfect you expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is that like we're building houses on ground that isn't the most stable thing in the world. So the house is going to settle over time. Issues are going to arise. We're using materials that aren't great. So every house is going to have its problems, but it's easy to feel like you live in the only house that has all the problems, or that it's because your house is cheaper that it has all the problems. It's like, no, in reality,
it's just normal.
Yeah, it's normal, but in reality, if you have a smaller house, you probably have less problems in most cases than the person with the bigger house.
Yeah.
Their problems
less opportunities.
Their problems may be more spread out, but that's definitely a way of it. But it's also just been crazy. They always talk about, like, you see the home remodel shows and something always goes wrong or something's always how they didn't expect it to be. And you hear people talk about that like, oh, I'm never going to be doing like a big remodel project again because all this stuff just always comes up and blah, blah. It's like, yeah, oh, that's all accurate.
Yeah, it just does.
That's really what it's like when you're working on a house and you're having things done. It's always something else.
Yeah. You will find issues no matter what because someone somewhere did a DIY and should not have.
Yeah. Well, like done weird stuff though.
Yeah.
Like the one that you told me about in our bedroom floor. We had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe it. You could explain it better because you were the one that saw it and were told about it. But it's just weird.
So there was some water damage some point in the past, and where the subfloor swelled up, they decided to just sand it to make it level. They didn't replace it.
That is crazy.
They just sanded it to smooth it out a little bit. So that was very odd.
Yeah, you're not really supposed to sand your subfloor.
Like, you could see the markings where it happened. It was the oddest thing. But, it is what it is. We found lots of strange things, like the very high voltage hot wire just, touching stuff that it shouldn't.
Yeah, that was the one that fed the water heater.
Yeah. So you just, come down through the side of a closet on the inside and down, laying over some plastic piping. So that could have been real bad.
Yeah, our house, I don't understand all the things that were done to it. Because, we already knew the basement was weird. Like, the wiring in the basement's weird. There's weird stuff about it. But, it just got super weird. Yeah. Like, every time you peel back a layer in this house, you're like, what was going on?
Like, how did we get to this point? Like, who did what to where we ended up like this?
Yeah.
It's strange, but we've got lots and lots of great ideas for a future going through this process. So, I mean, it's not entirely scared us off of doing work. It's just
Well, everything that we want to do is very minor.
Yes.
So compared to what's going on in our house right now, I mean, like the subfloor's all been ripped up, the whole
There are
bathroom
walls
were taken
gone.
down. So the work that's happened in our house is way bigger than the stuff that we plan to go back on.
And that's not probably stuff that we would attempt to do ourselves.
You know, looking back, I wish that I had done more of this work myself as far as like the dismantling aspect.
Yeah.
Like we should have taken the floors up. We probably even the tile floor. Like we probably could have taken that up.
All they did was take a hammer and smash it and pull it out.
Yeah, and we should.
Our child got to do a little demo, so that was fun.
Yeah.
I also took the hammer through the wall just to have a little demo under my belt too. Because, I mean, when's the next chance I'm going to get for that?
Who knows? Speaking of which, real quick, I just want to mention that we're doing this podcast a little different than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, we wait until our son goes to bed.
Mm-hmm.
That way, we don't have any interruptions or things like that. But we also don't want to be up super late tonight with the whole way that this week has already been. And so we're recording a little bit earlier. And so our son's awake. He is happily watching VeggieTales right now. And hopefully we can continue that to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But if you hear coughing, he's not feeling very well. And he's over there. He's enjoying his favorite show. We don't normally let him watch anything, so it's a very big deal that he's getting to watch something right now.
Yep.
But he also doesn't feel well, so
we're letting things slide.
yeah.
But
I just want to give that warning in case things don't sound normal or in case you hear things in the background. That's what it's about. We're also sitting next to a window on a road that we don't know that well, and we've already heard one loud vehicle go by since we've been recording the podcast, which I can only assume that you guys heard as well.
Yeah.
So I do apologize. The one thing you were talking about that we've been more inspired to do than anything happened not even as much with being in this house, because we were thinking about it right before we left our house. Like, you give us time to sit still and it doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't. We spend money.
Yeah. So we woke up early on Saturday to completely start moving everything out of our bedroom, everything out of the bathroom, to completely get everything ready for the work that was going to start taking place this week. Well, we were supposed to be able to come here at 4 o'clock. And so we were done probably about like 2 o'clock. We were pretty much done with everything we needed to do at our house. Well, we just started sitting around, which isn't completely normal for us.
Yeah.
Sort of brainstorming, started thinking about things. And then all of a sudden we're like, we should just make everything a set, which sounds ridiculous. But
we should just have spots all over that are sets.
Yes. So like design the house in a way that you can film in the house, either that be shorts, that be podcasts, that be longer YouTube videos, which I need to be better about doing because I'm really not. But that kind of content, have little places throughout the house that are unique backgrounds that look good on camera.
Yeah.
But that's also now turned even deeper to emptying out our basement because there's just full of junk.
Yeah, stuff that we do not go down for. Like
95% of the stuff down there we don't use whatsoever. And we could better organize, better lay out, and then we could build out like a legit,
an actual set,
like a studio.
Yeah.
That I think could be used for multiple things. As far as like if you were able to get photography stuff, you could do there. Like you could definitely, obviously, do headshot work basically anywhere. But if you have like, and you walk in down there and it just like looks nice, it feels nice, you're gonna get people to want to come down there and do stuff. And then that's just honestly like, I hate to be thinking like business wise at this point in life. Now that I hate to say it like this, but now that I'm a licensed minister, now that we've got a goal, we want to be working in a church environment in the future and things like that. But there's also things that we just enjoy and things that you see a need for in our area. And one thing that we don't have in much use, we don't have much availability of in our area is like actual good studio space, like for photography. And I don't know of anywhere that you could go and rent a space to even record a podcast or to film a video or anything like that. I'm sure that there are some that exist. You did the one photography studio one time, and it was not great.
No, and I'm pretty sure that one closed down suddenly. Like there were things booked out, and all of a sudden the doors were just locked.
Oh. Well, I don't know about that, but this only gets me thinking is like for one, we want to build the sets, like make our house look like a set, do all that stuff so that way we can create more content online. I think I kind of said that, but I want to be clear. so we can create more Christian content online. So that way we can talk about God. That way the shorts are more engaging, more interesting. So that way everything is just professional.
Yes.
We want to produce professional content, and a big part of that nowadays is video. Obviously, we love doing the podcast, but a video podcast makes us more findable, more reachable, and then having an interesting background makes a massive impact on reaching people. But there's so many avenues you can go with that, so many opportunities. And so if we have the space and you like to take pictures, obviously I want to use it that way. And I can only just see that kind of being able to grow.
Yeah.
Not going to be the focus of our life, but that doesn't mean that you can't have something over here that kind of just does its thing.
And Lord willing, if we go through the ministry aspect of stuff and we, start a church and have a space to where we can dedicate just for content creation, and even
that would definitely be like the vision that I would want to have, is to be like the content church, which I know sounds ridiculous. Like I want to be a dedicated church in the community, in the city, things like that. But there's so many opportunities online, and there's so many voices in every church that to get people inspired and give them a space to do what they want to do. That's the issue nowadays, is you have so many people that want to do things online, but they don't know how to do it. They don't feel confident in doing it. And so they need a little bit of encouragement. They need help, and they need to just have a place that they can go, they can learn, and they can create their own things. I mean, like right now we know churches, and even our own church is great about helping the young people in as far as like creating content for the church. But it's a lot. The content that I see created the most is like hype videos and things like that, and they do great in the algorithm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're getting the name of the church out there. You're getting these things out there, and that's amazing. But we also need to have people who are good at creating content that edifies.
Yes.
Because like you want to get people to come to the church, but if you can't get them to come to church, we need to give them value where they are.
You need to plant seeds.
Yeah.
Along with the encouragement that comes out, but you also do need to sow those seeds. And a lot of times there's little sermon clips and things come out. That's great, but not everyone.
But there's a reason that clip, that line is in an hour sermon, or even a 45-minute, even a 30-minute sermon. One 30-second clip of a 30-minute sermon isn't going to give you what you need.
Exactly.
It's not crafted to give you what you need. But if you craft a 30-second clip, a minute clip, or even a 10-minute video purposefully, that can provide the complete value that you intend it to. And I mean, like I obviously make clippable things, but I know that one thing I'm saying is a part of a much bigger picture.
Yes.
But if you're matching what you're saying to the size of the picture, it's going to have more depth, and it's going to make more sense, and it's going to be able to help people more.
Yeah, and I agree. So, Lord willing, we get to go down this path and have that creator studio associated with the church.
CCC, Christian Christian Creators Club.
Yes, I love it. Sold. I'm going to start monogramming everything.
But I just think that like I would love to have that space, and it's like it's for the edification of the church. We want to reach the community, but also we want to reach the world with the message of Christ, and we do that through giving and missions. We give it through all these things, but we have such an opportunity. In my mind, this is what we're saying is you have some generic sets, or like especially if you were going to do that. So like say you've got space, you've got a church, you've got a room that you can dedicate to a creator space. Well, the way you design that, you obviously design maybe a couple angles in the room. But that is the definite time that lighting becomes important.
Yes.
And color lighting. So that way you basically assign a color palette to each of the shows.
Yeah.
Right. So you could record 4 podcasts in the same room, and the only thing that changes is the lighting and the people.
And that'll completely change the feel of it.
It changes the whole vibe, and people will still be interested to watch it and to look at it.
Yeah.
And then you just refresh every so often the room. But that's what our thought is, not just like, oh, we want to, invest tons of money in this. It's like we want to invest some money into this because I think it's important. But then giving people an opportunity. Yeah. And not everybody wants, I mean, I'm talking about somebody who wants to at some day be a pastor. But I have to realize not everybody wants to hear what I have to say. That there are other voices that are going to connect better with certain people than what I'm able to do. And so even like if you think about the various ministries that are in our church, our church could bless other churches by taking people who are so talented in their area and just letting them talk about it.
Yeah.
So like if you're dedicated to like recovery, and like helping people through addiction, that's a lot of podcast conversations.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. If you're dedicated to evangelism, that's a lot of podcast conversations. That's its own show. If you're dedicated to now I'm trying to think like fit team type stuff, first impressions, and like reaching
Even
out to people,
children's ministries.
Yeah, all these things you could have countless episodes on and have its own series, and that's what we're talking about. We're basically, I mean, I understand why why the things are the way they are now, and I'm not saying that anybody's not doing it right.
Yes.
We all have our own callings, and this is where we feel called, is to definitely take a push into the online space and to inspire other people to do that are going to be under our shepherding.
Yes.
But a part of that, too, is, I don't want the church to just be used 2 days a week, right? Like, I want people to be able to come and utilize the building and produce good works and good fruit all the time. So it's like people are in there recording on these days and doing their shows and doing their content. And there's even, we talked about this in the past, and it feels a little weird to be recording like a podcast about some other topic at church. But it's like, if somebody is a golfer or is this, like, they should be inspired to do their podcast about golf and weave in the things about God, right? Like, there's YouTubers that we watch, and we're not even, there's a guy that we watch on motorcycles. Obviously, he's not apostolic, but he's trying. He's on the faith path. He's trying to find out more. If we knew him, he does live in Tennessee now, but I think he lives, hours away from where we are. But my point that I was trying to get to before I sidetracked myself is that he's making videos about motorcycles, and the videos are interesting, but in every video he makes a point to share a Bible verse. That's enough to reach some people. That can have an impact. And so,
well, a lot of times,
I just want people to have an impact in this world and show that also that Christians aren't stuffy, not fun people.
Well, because a lot of times what's going to
I'm not fun, but other Christians are.
Just ask our kid.
Yeah, exactly. You're no fun.
But a lot of times what's really going to win people is how you live your life. Not what you preach to them, but just how you go about your daily life, how you problem solve, all of that.
Yeah, I think
how you deal with situations.
Obviously, what you say is very important, and sharing the gospel is very important. But a lot of times, what you don't say speaks more volumes. Just being a Christian and living true Christian life, because people don't know what Christians are today.
Yeah.
That's just the honest truth, is because there are a lot of people who claim to be a Christian, who claim to know God, and then they've never read John. They've never read the first epistle of John, because John's like, no, y'all don't have it right. You hate your brothers. Well, then you don't know God. He's like, you're walking in darkness, so you're not in the light. You don't know God. You're not following the commands of God, so you don't know God.
Yeah.
But you claim to know God, and you're giving God a bad reputation, which is something that I can't remember the exact reference, but Peter basically makes that point. He's like, false teachers are the reason that the evil is spoken of the faith.
Yep.
It's like, it's false teachers, false believers are the problem.
Yes.
And I know it sounds like a cop-out, but it's honestly the truth. If you find somebody who you judge Christians based off of, and they're mean, arrogant, boastful, pride, well, they're probably not actually a Christian.
Yeah.
Because the Bible, and that doesn't mean that we don't struggle and we fall into those areas at times, but if that's their constant, if that thermostat is set to just wicked, then they're probably not a Christian, because they're not walking in the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, kindness. Those things should be predominant in the life of every Christian. I've been writing about that this week, so it just very easy comes out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're really a Christian, you are going to show love. People are going to know you by that.
Yeah.
The Bible specifically talks about that. They will know you because
if
of
you're
the love.
It says if you follow the Spirit, then the fruit is evident, which is joy, love, peace, and kindness. So if you're following God, if you're living out God, if you're filled with His Spirit, then it's going to be very evident that you are. There's not going to be any like, I wonder if that person's a Christian.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we'll just sit here and watch for a little while, see what they do, Now that somebody could be having a bad day, but we're talking about people that obviously, but I don't remember where I was going. Oh, but yeah, so then we were talking about sets and all these
Mhm.
ideas and all these things, and it evolves to like, well, we should just turn the whole basement into a set. And then like it's that thing where you
But
get
then,
into
so we're like, okay, so we're gonna turn the whole basement into set, but there's really stuff that needs to happen upstairs too, because we gotta finish fixing some of these other things.
yeah.
And I've priced out a couple projects.
Yeah. So we're going to figure that out. And we do have the video switcher now.
Yeah.
So we are going to get the video. And here's the thing is we bought the video switcher and we got it. And then obviously there was other parts like that we need. We need some different cables and we need a hard drive and stuff like that. And I was getting ready to order it and I'm like, we are literally moving out of our house in a week.
Is this smart?
Do we really want to start video now? Or should we start video, at the first of the year whenever we're back in our own house? And it really made sense to just wait until we were back in our own house to start the video stuff. But that's going to come, and then the sets are going to come, and things are just going to be constantly improving.
Yeah.
You got to keep moving
Lord
forward.
willing.
Well, yeah. But like you're saying, there's still a ton of stuff that we want to do on our house of ourselves. We got new appliances coming because our old appliances were old and pretty junked out. And so we've got new stuff. And that's also going to make an impact because like our fridge right now is ridiculously loud.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to die, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so the new fridge will be much quieter than the current fridge, which means that it's going to be a lot easier to record without weird noises in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And
the dishwasher is going to be way quieter, too.
Yeah, it's like a 48 decibel, which I didn't even know was a thing. Like, that's how they rate dishwashers now. Our current dishwasher is about 1 million decibels.
Yep, just a rough estimate, 1 million.
Yeah, if I had to guess, it's going to blow your eardrums out. That's what it feels like. It turns on. It is so loud. It is ridiculous.
You can't hear your own thoughts. It's terrible.
But then there's shelves and things that we want to do in the kitchen. Then we've realized the proper way to set up our closet to actually have more space.
Yeah.
So we're going to be gaining, compared to what we have right now, like 5 or 6 feet of like rack space just by twisting things around, like changing where the bars are and all those sorts of things.
Super excited for that because closet space is a struggle. Like, it's a small closet, y'all. And we have packed. Well, I mean,
compared to the closet in this house, it's a small closet. Compared to closets that I've seen before, it's not that bad.
But yeah, it's small and we struggle.
Yeah.
Things are packed in there. And then we have a whole other closet full of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which Bree's going to start her DIY channel, is what she was telling me the other day. So that's how you'll see that, because I can't. I'm sitting here thinking like, how can I explain it? And I can't. Like on a audio only podcast, you're never going to understand what I'm talking about. But maybe Labre's DIY is going to be showing up soon or something, and then she'll just start showing you all of her little projects, and then maybe we'll actually make some money on the internet for once.
Yeah.
Not that I want to make money from all these things. I'm just joking. We've done other things in the past, and we've just never,
stuck with it.
We've never found. Well, yeah, but we've also just never found the thing that like. Hit that worked. So
gardening was fun. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
But you run through seasons on the scale that we're gardening, so it's not really great to do year round.
Well, and like all the people that do actually do the garden channels and they do stuff year round, like they don't even garden anymore. They just talk. And so it's like, I'm not into that. Like, do you even do in that kind of video? Obviously, we're just talking right now. So I see the hypocrisy in what I'm saying. But basically, they just like want to complain, not garden answers, but like there's one lady that's a homestead type thing. And I never see her work anymore. I just see her walk around with the camera and kind of talk about stuff, make some complaints.
Grab some eggs.
Yeah, talk in different areas of her yard, and then the video's over. And it's like, well, that was worth it. But I'm not very good at making content. I realize
it's hard, but then like as big of a channel as she has, like you have people who just want to sit and listen to her talk about stuff that's going on and all the different things happening, which they had a fire recently, so that was scary.
Yeah, I bet that was.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be nice about having like some dedicated spaces and things? We're finally going to buy those arms for the microphones.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I just had to move her hand because she like started to tilt the mic down, and I was like, "You're gonna have to."
This mic gets heavy after a bit.
I do this I do this 3 times a week.
I know.
That's why I'm so strong.
Yeah. Big muscles there.
Yeah. No, but these mics do get heavy. But having a mic stand is gonna be awesome because it's just gonna be where it needs to be all the time.
Yeah, and you don't have to fuss with it. Nothing.
Yeah. It's funny, like. being in this house, obviously, like you just feel different.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get into your normal routines at your other house, and so like things always feel different. But then you're here and it feels weird. And like, by all accounts, this house is much nicer than ours.
Mm-hmm.
And the house that we stayed in Florida this year is much nicer than
Mm-hmm.
ours. Every time I'm somewhere else now, I'm like, I just want to go home. Like when we had when we were renting before,
Mm-hmm.
or like when I was growing up, like and you're in your parents' house and stuff. Like I never felt that way. Like I never wanted vacation to end. You know, it was always fun to be in a new place. Obviously, I'm still working right now, so it's not really a vacation. But like, I don't know. It was just now I'm like, I just want to go to my house.
I want to go to my house with all my stuff. I miss my KitchenAid mixer. I miss my blender.
I miss Hank.
Yeah.
Our cat's still at the house. It's not
I
even.
get to go see him every so often. So.
I'm gonna go see him Saturday, but it's like a 10-minute drive. It's not like it's that far, but
it's very inconvenient because then it's 20 minutes driving round trip, and then you don't want to just like pop in for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make it worth it. So then your 20-minute driving trip turns into an hour trip.
Yeah.
And then if there's people there, you get stuck for like 2 hours.
You were stuck like forever.
Yeah.
The other day,
it was
but
a long day.
yeah, I feel bad for the cat, but I just didn't trust him at somebody else's house. Like he's got to learn where his litter box is, which probably isn't as big of a deal as I think it is because we learned where new toilets were. But I haven't had that problem. But no, like, and then cats don't like to be moved, and I'm like, I don't want him like,
and then you don't want to
tearing
mess up
something
people's
up.
furniture.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's like it's just not worth it. I'm not gonna take that risk.
yeah, the dog's trained well enough to where we can keep her off of furniture.
When we like fix the basement all out,
Mm-hmm.
and then have it set up as a studio, do we get a new cat that lives in the basement so that way like it can keep away any pests that get in there, and then it's just like the studio cat?
As long as you feed it and do the litter box.
Well, I had to be down there all the time anyways.
But I am the one to feed Hank now, so
That is not true.
90% of the time I'm filling up his bowl.
That's not true. It feels that way because he just constantly empties his bowl. I think we're both constantly filling up his bowl. Like every other day, you fill it one day, I fill it the next day.
Yeah, that
And
cat.
then he tells you when he's mad about it. He just throws it in the floor. He'll have like some crumbs in there. He's like, I don't eat crumbs, Dad. Poof, kicks it in the floor. And they're
That
like,
is
well,
the
you're really not
moodiest.
getting food now, sir. You're going to wait. Tell them. No, sir.
No. Watch your show.
I knew that an interruption was going to come in a little while. But anyways, yeah, he's like, no, I don't want to play this game. He just hits it in the floor. He's like, I don't eat crumbs. I'm like, well, you're going to eat tomorrow then, because this is not how we behave.
Yeah. And if he doesn't have food, like constantly, he's not happy.
Mm-mm.
He's
He
a
just follows
spiteful
you
little
around the
kitty.
house. Meow, meow.
He starts clawing at stuff. I'm like,
He's like, I'm going to show you. You're going to know what I want. I don't know.
cats, animals in general, they're crazy because our animals have such personalities, like even the chickens. But being here, there's horses.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see a lot of personality with those the other day when I took our son up to go see the big horses because, he's not, as far as I'm aware of, that I can remember, he's not been around big horses. We've been around ponies.
Yeah, I don't guess so.
So this was very exciting for him.
I mean, kind of around when we were in Pennsylvania, but not really.
Yeah, horses were there, but he didn't go up to them.
Yeah.
Like he didn't get this close interaction with them. So it was an adventure, but there was a cowboy there doing a clinic, trying to help this horse who's been having some attitude issues. So he's going.
Did you not learn anything from the documentary we watched the other day, Bree? We watched a whole documentary called Spirit about a spirited horse, and you learned nothing. I also watched Dances with Wolves the other day. I never finished it, but that horse was very spirited as well.
Yeah.
It just kept coming. Like the Indians kept trying to steal the horse from the guy, and the horse was like, no. And he just kept coming back.
But yeah, it's just funny to see the personality in all animals. It doesn't matter their size or what they are.
Mm-hmm.
They've all got some attitudes.
Yeah. Well, our dog is huge and like super prissy. She's just like all girl dog.
She like prances around. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, animals.
I think I had an animals thing.
Oh,
because I did find some every week I'm surprised with the stories that pop up on the internet. Let's see. I don't think I clicked on it. Well, there's a tortoise that just turned 191 years old.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did see, there it is, a venomous snake was rescued from an energy drink can. Kind of sad, obviously. Happy that the snake was saved.
Yeah.
It was venomous, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
mess with it. But, like, that's why you don't litter.
Yeah.
It got stuck in the can.
Ugh.
In lighter news,
Mm-hmm.
well, I say that. It's not actually as light as it would be. But basically, there was a semi-truck
Mm-hmm.
that got in an accident this morning,
Oh.
and it shut down a road in Ohio by covering the road in chocolate and caramel. So, I mean, like, you know.
If the road had to be shut down.
Why were you late to work today? I ended up in Willy Wonka's factory, I guess. I don't know what happened.
I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, this big river of chocolate and caramel starts coming towards me.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a
Calling your
trip.
boss. Hey,
You're not going to believe this, but I am covered in chocolate and caramel right now, and I'm not going to be able to make it into work. Are you okay? Did you go on another bender?
Are you binging again?
We've talked about this. We had you in CAA, Chocolateaholics Anonymous, and you didn't. It's AA.
You're
Dang it.
gonna weigh 700 pounds if you keep going like this.
Well, then maybe I'll at least get some attention from A&E. That's mean. Those shows, I don't understand that.
Oh,
So,
a lot of that.
more weird news.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite way for any article to start. It
Mhm.
says, Florida man. That's how you know that the
That's-
news is going to be good.
Yep.
When it starts with Florida man, anything's possible.
Yep.
You know,
Anything.
there's no telling what somebody in Florida did. This man collects Titanic on VHS. So he collects copies of Titanic on VHS. Currently has 2,467 copies of the 1997 film on VHS.
But why?
Well, he says, I go to sleep thinking about Titanic, and I wake up thinking about Titanic. So that, like, he lives for Titanic.
Wow.
You want to know what his goal is?
To go see it?
No, that didn't work out well for anybody. No, he's aiming to have 1 million copies of the film Titanic. How are you gonna store that? Why? I don't know. I think it's honestly, I think he just sees a way to get notoriety.
Yeah.
Because he's got a YouTube channel called Titanic Fan 97 on YouTube, and he just goes to flea markets, thrift stores, garage sales to search for this copies of the movie.
Wow.
And people have mailed him copies from all over the world, is what this says.
Okay.
He said everybody had it, so it's easy to find, I guess. You know, he's got an attainable dream. But he also has the world's largest collection of the Titanic soundtrack on CD.
Oh.
And he's going to be in the new Ripley's Believe It or Not book. So, I mean, he's winning in life, to be honest.
I mean, that's what he wanted. That
Yeah.
was his goal.
Speaking of records,
Mm-hmm.
an Indian woman, like the country,
Yeah.
has just been titled woman. I don't know why I said titled. Basically, she has the world's longest hair.
Oh.
Yeah. She's 46 years old, and she has not had a haircut since the age of 14.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think her hair is? I apologize if you can hear the dog drinking water, by the way. I don't know what to do about that. So
12 feet.
no, not quite. 7'9" though. So like
Oh.
taller than than like an
Taller than
NBA
you.
basketball player. And just some long hair. I just don't know how you would deal with that. Like everybody we know has really long hair. We don't. The women in the Apostolic Church don't cut their hair, so that's very normal to us. But
Yeah.
I have never seen somebody with 7 foot hair. I mean, that's talking about for most women. That's dragging 2 foot behind you. If you wore your hair down that day.
And
That's
hers
a
is
lot.
over 7 foot, you said.
7'9".
Yeah.
I'm just saying maybe
So
she's
you're-
5'9".
Wow. That's
Not everybody's as short as you are.
eh.
I think the average height of a woman's closer to 5'9", but I don't know.
I mean, we're about to find out.
Well, yeah, I've got to. Of course, it pulls up male height first. But let's see. As a 5'4", I apologize.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like it's more around 5'5" ish.
Okay, but still 2.5 feet of hair behind you.
Yeah.
That's insane.
A lot. That's a toddler walking behind you.
Mm-hmm. Just a little toddler walking behind you. And then, where was it? There's another one. Also in Florida, I just have themes today, records, Florida, and stuff like that. There's a private island that just went for sale in the Florida Keys.
Oh.
And I'm trying to figure out how we can swing this. It's only $2.5 million. No, it was on HGTV.
Oh.
It's literally this little tiny island. I personally like $2.5 million for that kind of oceanfront property. It's got 360-degree views of the ocean. If you really think about it, I would like to know. I might have to try to find this because I'd be curious to see how. Like, can you see any other land from this property? Let's see. Well, there's only 2 pictures.
Oh.
So
that's not helpful.
No, but if you can see another house, that kind of makes it worse. But $2.5 million doesn't seem like that bad of a deal. The issue to me is that it's literally less than a quarter acre.
Oh.
Of island. So, and I don't understand a lot of factors of this, as far as like where did your water come from?
That's less than our yard. That's smaller, because it's less than a quarter of an acre.
Yeah.
So that's smaller than our
It's
lot.
9,190 square feet is how big the island was. Ah, so it was featured on HGTV in 2014, but the home on the property was destroyed in Irma in 2017. So it's literally just the island for $2.5 million. I thought there was a building on it.
Yeah.
I apologize. But there are plans underway to build a brand new single-family home there that will offer spectacular views of the Gulf of Mexico and incredible sunsets. Well, I don't know how you could get a better sunset unless you were staying on a boat. But I think it's still pretty great. I would like to live on an island in the Florida Keys. I'd like to go to the Florida Keys. Let's just be honest. Like that's how
I've not been.
I've not either. So that's what I'm saying. That's how backwoods we are. Is like we're just dreaming to be able to go to the Keys, let alone owning an island. I was talking to my mom today. This is what reminded me of that. And I was actually not long before we got on this podcast, I was talking to my mom, and I was telling her about like I went into the bathroom in this house late the first night that we were here, and I stepped on the bathroom floor, and I was like, that feels weird. And so I literally got down on my hands and knees, and I'm like putting one hand on one side of the threshold and one hand on the other from the tile to the wood. And I'm like, this floor is heated. And my mom's like, yeah, you feel like you're the Beverly Hillbillies sometimes. You're like, oh, wow. I reckon this here floor's heated. That's literally how it feels, though. You just feel like this real country person all of a sudden becoming a millionaire. You step into things and you're like, I didn't even know that you could do that. I didn't know. I obviously knew that you could do heated floors, but I've never experienced that. I never knew that I was going to be like staying somewhere that had heated floors or a house that had more light switches than I could count.
There are so many switches here. It's ridiculous. And I've realized kind of why, because there's a switch for each of the room lights at each end of the room.
Well, yeah. But my issue is like,
instead of doing that, let's get some
bulbs. We're in a room right now. It's an open concept like in the living area. And so you've got the living room, the kitchen, and the dining room is all just one big room.
Yeah.
In this room, though, you have 4 different styles of lights, because you have canned lights, you have a ceiling fan light, you have a light over the counter, and then you have a light over the dining table. But then the can lights, there's 2 different circuits for the can lights. So in this room alone, there's like 6 different options that you can do. Super confuses me, especially because of the fact that we don't hardly use light switches anymore. The only place that we use light switches are in the bathrooms and in the bedrooms.
Yeah.
And so I'm not used to it. I'm used to being like, Alexa, do this, or Alexa, do that. And so this idea that there's so many switches has really messed me up.
It's very strange. You want to walk into this space and be like, Alexa, do this with the lights, but she can't because she's not here.
Well, and also, like, it's silly as it sounds. This house is a little bit bigger than ours, but the layout's also interesting. And so, like, the master bathroom and where the living area is, they're about as far away from each other as you can get in the house, at least. And it's like, if you, like, leave something in the bathroom and you've already came back in the living room, you're like, oh, I got to walk all the way back across the house? This is so far. It's like, I don't know how rich people do it. Like, how would you have grown up in Biltmore? Like, where in the world did I leave my drink? Is it in the library? Is it in the third bedroom on the left wing?
I had a book at some point.
Yeah.
What
You can never
happened to
finish
that?
a book. You just leave it all over the place. At least like you lose your phone nowadays, you just walk around making it go ding, ding,
Yeah.
and you find it. But back then, like your book couldn't talk to you. You'd be like, "Where's my book?" There's only 400
Find it
rooms
4
in this
months
house.
later.
Yeah. Well, you'd be at like they had people. They're like,
Yeah.
"Jeeves, find my book." What was it on? I don't know.
It was a book. I was reading
I
it.
finally found it. Is this? No, that wasn't the right one.
I was reading that one 2 months ago and lost it.
Now I'm over it. I didn't even care to have you look for it, to be honest.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah, to be troubled with money.
Oh,
What a life.
goodness. If only.
If only. Well, I can tell that our sons definitely want some attention.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a short game
Okay.
that I want to play. This game, instead of celebrities, or notable people, I guess
Mm-hmm.
that it was last week, is basically geography based.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm going to tell you like a landmark, and I want you to tell me what city that landmark is in. You think you can do that?
No.
Where's the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
That's in
Not the country, the city. The Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Pisa.
That's correct. Do you know where the Sydney Opera House is?
In Sydney.
What about the Rock of Gibraltar?
In Gibraltar.
Okay. What about the Pyramids of Giza?
Giza.
Nope, they're in Cairo. I literally heard this on another podcast, and it builds you up so well that you're like, okay, I know what this one's going to be.
You set me up to walk off a cliff.
Be honest, I should have done my research. I don't know why they're called the Pyramids of Giza since they're not in Giza, that they're in Cairo. They're not but maybe the name changed later on down the road or something.
Maybe, yeah, because
I don't know.
that happens.
But yeah, I just thought that was too much fun.
That was a blast.
You were so confident too.
I know.
That's
I
the
was
most...
like,
And then they went into doing like other ones, like the Eiffel Tower.
Mm-hmm. That's in Paris.
It's what?
That.
Yeah, but you kind of trailed off at the end because you still didn't believe yourself. It's in Paris,
No.
but you were like, it's in Paris.
No, I'm also trying to.
But
monitor the
no,
child.
I was watching you that
Like,
time.
that's in
You
Paris.
you were like, that's in Paris. Like you like trailed off at the end because you're like, I don't want to be wrong.
Someone really wants a microphone.
Where's the arch? You know where the arch? That's in America.
The St. Louis,
Good job.
because it's the St. Louis Arch.
Yeah, that's why I
I've
didn't
been
say
there.
it like that. You just been to all the cool stuff.
No,
No, I haven't.
no,
I
not all of it.
was trying to remember, like, I can't even remember what it's called though.
Oh,
But it was like the Eye. Oh, because I think it's literally called
The
like
Bean?
the London Eye. The Bean's in Chicago.
hey.
I do know that one. All right, well, I think that's all that I've got because now we're just going down this weird rabbit trail of like trying to bounce off of each other on things that don't make any sense. Hopefully, when we come in to this podcast next week, we can tell you how great the house stuff is going
Yeah.
and how we're happy again and not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not truly worried about it. It's just a pain. Like I'm just ready for that to be done. I'm ready to be. I want to go home. That's all I want.
We like our house.
I feel like Dorothy. I just wish I could, click my heels together. Well, my physical heel. I'm not wearing heels. I want to be very clear. I realized in that movie she's also wearing heels, so that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have heels on your feet.
Yeah.
Everybody does,
Mhm.
right? I am thinking of the right thing. Because
Yes,
now I'm
yes,
second
it's
guessing.
Still a
everything.
heel.
This is one of those moments that I could see, like, one day's going to happen to me when I'm preaching. And it's like, I think we should just go home. Does somebody want to come up here and close us out in prayer? Because I don't even know if I can handle this.
Good night.
Yeah.
God
Mic
bless.
drop. We'll see you guys next week. Sorry. I wish I could remember the story of the squirrel getting in the church, but.
You mean the story of the dog getting in the church?
Well, no, I do. That pastor didn't even notice. Somebody that we know recently sent a
Okay.
picture and a dog got into their church.
Mm-hmm.
And like the guy's up there speaking and he doesn't even realize that there's a random dog running through. I don't know
Yeah.
where he was at, but
Someone had to get his attention and be like, we need to pause for a minute and get this out.
everybody but you is completely distracted right now because there's the dog in here. No, there's one about it's like a joke or something from back in the day about a squirrel, but it just disrupted the whole thing. Long end of the
Short end.
I guess I'm tired.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to see you guys again next week. We'll be back Monday for the More God, Less Me podcast. But until then, God bless.